The poison burned through Cassandra's veins as she watched her best friend kiss her mate under the crimson light of the blood moon. She had trusted Celine with everything. Trusted her mate Alpha Damien with her heart. Now they stood together over her dying body, laughing about how easy it had been to fool her. The wolfsbane mixture would kill her slowly, painfully. But as her vision faded and her wolf whimpered its last breath, something ancient stirred in her bloodline. Her eyes snapped open, glowing pure white. The scream that tore from her throat shattered every window in the packhouse. And when the most feared alpha in the Western Territories appeared at the border, drawn by a power he had never felt before he found her, covered in her own blood, radiating an energy that made even his beast bow. He had been searching for his fated mate for 200 years, and he had just found her dying in a pool of betrayal. Subscribe now to follow Cassandra's journey from broken mate to the most powerful Luna the supernatural world has ever seen. This is a story of vengeance and second chances, of finding love with the one wolf everyone fears, and of becoming so strong that those who betrayed you will beg for mercy they will never receive. Chapter 1. 24 hours before the blood moon, Cassandra Vale stood in the packhouse kitchen preparing the celebration feast. As beta female of the Crescent Moon Pack, she took pride in her work. The blood moon came once every decade, and their pack would host the gathering of 5 territories. Everything had to be perfect. Celine breezed into the kitchen, her blonde hair perfect as always. She smiled, that bright, cheerful smile that had made them best friends since childhood. I still cannot believe you are doing all this work yourself, Beta Cassandra. You should have the Omegas handle it. Cassandra wiped flour from her hands and returned the smile. You know me. I like to make sure things are done right. Besides, Damien loves my blackberry pie. I want tomorrow to be special. Damien. Celine's expression flickered with something Cassandra could not quite read. Of course. Your mate is lucky to have you. So dedicated. So trusting. Something in her tone made Cassandra pause, but before she could question it, Damien himself walked in. At 6'4" with golden hair and green eyes, he looked every inch the alpha heir. His father would step down after the blood moon ceremony, making Damien the official alpha and Cassandra his Luna. He crossed the kitchen and kissed her cheek, but the gesture felt cold. Perfunctory. How are preparations coming? Almost done. Cassandra studied his face, trying to understand why he felt distant lately. Is something wrong? You have been distracted all week. Everything is fine. Just stressed about the ceremony. Damien pulled away. I need to speak with Celine about the security arrangements. We will be back later. He left with Celine following close behind. Too close. Cassandra watched them go and felt her wolf stir uneasily. Something was wrong. She could feel it in her bones. That night Cassandra could not sleep. She lay in bed listening to Damien breathe beside her and felt more alone than ever. They had been together for 3 years. Fated mates brought together by the moon goddess herself. The bond should have been unbreakable. So why did it feel like it was fraying? The next day dawned red. The blood moon would rise at midnight, and already the sky had taken on a crimson tinge. Wolves from 5 packs began arriving throughout the afternoon. Cassandra greeted them with practiced grace, while scanning the crowd for threats. As beta female, it was her job to ensure security alongside the warriors. She noticed Celine standing close to Damien again. Noticed the way his hand lingered on her lower back. Noticed the looks they exchanged when they thought no one was watching. Her wolf snarled in her mind. Something is very wrong. During the feast, Cassandra barely touched her food. She sat at the high table beside Damien while he laughed and drank and pointedly ignored her. When she tried to touch his hand, he pulled away. When she tried to speak to him, he turned to talk to someone else. Celine sat on his other side, leaning in close, whispering things that made him smile. That made Cassandra's chest tight with a feeling she did not want to name. After dinner there was dancing. Damien danced with visiting alpha's daughters. With elder females. With everyone except his own mate. Finally, he asked Celine to dance, and Cassandra watched them move together with a familiarity that made her sick. She left the celebration and went to their shared bedroom. Maybe she was being paranoid. Maybe the stress of the ceremony was making her see things that were not there. She would rest for an hour, then return for the blood moon ritual at midnight. She had just closed her eyes when she heard voices outside the window. Did you give it to her? Damien's voice. Cassandra froze. Yes, Celine responded. In her wine at dinner. She drank the whole glass. She will start feeling the effects in another hour. Good. Once she is weak, I will reject her during the blood moon ceremony. The pack will accept it because she will appear unworthy. Sickly. Unable to fulfill her Luna duties. And then Damien's voice went soft in a way it never had with Cassandra. And then I can claim you as my mate. As my Luna. The way it should have been from the start. I love you, Celine whispered. I have loved you since we were children. But she was your fated mate. The bond. Bonds can be broken. Especially when one half of the bond is dead. Cassandra's blood turned to ice. The wolfsbane mixture will take 3 hours to kill her. Celine continued. By then the ceremony will be over. It will look like she died from the rejection. No one will question it. Perfect. Damien laughed. Cassandra is so trusting. So naive. She never suspected a thing. They moved away, still talking, still planning her death. Cassandra lay frozen in the bed trying to process what she had heard. Her mate. Her best friend. They had been plotting to kill her. Had poisoned her. Were going to let her die so they could be together. She sat up slowly and immediately felt it. The burn in her veins. The weakness in her limbs. The poison was already working. She had maybe 2 hours before it killed her. Her wolf howled in her mind. Betrayal. Pain. Rage. The bond with Damien shattered like glass cutting through her soul. She gasped at the agony of it. A broken mate bond was one of the worst pains a wolf could endure. But this was worse because it was not just broken. It was poisoned. Built on lies from the very beginning. Had he ever loved her? Or had it all been an act? Cassandra stumbled from the bed. She needed help. Needed to tell someone. But who? Damien was the alpha heir. Celine was the pack darling. Who would believe her over them? She made it downstairs and into the forest before the pain dropped her to her knees. The poison was spreading faster now. Her vision blurred. Her wolf was dying. She could feel it withdrawing, pulling into the deepest part of her soul to escape the wolfsbane. She was going to die. Here in the dirt. Alone. Betrayed. Murdered by the 2 people she loved most. The blood moon rose overhead, bathing the forest in crimson light. Cassandra looked up at it and felt something stir deep inside. Something old. Something that had been sleeping in her bloodline for generations. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her memory. We come from the first wolves girl. The originals who walked with the moon goddess herself. That blood runs in your veins. If you ever need it, truly need it, it will answer. She had thought it was just a story. A legend. But as the poison burned through her, killing her slowly, she reached for that power with everything she had left. Help me. She sent the prayer to the moon, to her ancestors, to any god that might be listening. Please. I do not want to die. Not like this. Help me. Power exploded through her body. White hot and ancient. Her back arched off the ground as her eyes burst into light. Pure white. Glowing like stars. The poison fought back, but the power was stronger. It burned through her system, purging the wolfsbane. Healing the damage. Rebuilding her from the inside out. Her wolf did not just survive. It transformed. Grew stronger. Connected to something primal and vast. When Cassandra opened her eyes, she was no longer the same wolf who had been betrayed. She was something more. Something dangerous. She threw her head back and screamed. The sound was not human. Not entirely wolf. It was pure power made manifest. Every window in the pack house half a mile away shattered. Wolves collapsed to their knees, clutching their ears. The blood moon itself seemed to pulse in response. And at the border of Crescent Moon territory, a wolf went very still. Xander Kane was the most feared alpha in the Western Territories. At 205 years old, he had seen empires rise and fall. Had fought in wars that decimated packs. Had earned his reputation as the alpha you did not cross. His pack, the Nightshade Wolves, were small but deadly. Quality over quantity. And their alpha was a legend. He had been passing through Crescent Moon territory on his way to neutral ground when he felt it. A pulse so strong it nearly brought him to his knees. Power. Ancient and pure. And underneath it the unmistakable call of a mate bond. His fated mate. After 200 years of searching, she was here. He shifted to his human form and followed the pull into the forest. Found her in a clearing bathed in blood moonlight. She was on her knees covered in sweat and what looked like blood. Her long dark hair hung in waves around her face. And when she lifted her head to look at him, her eyes were glowing pure white. Xander stopped breathing. She was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. But it was not her beauty that struck him. It was the power radiating from her in waves. Power that called to his own. That made his beast, which had not bowed to anyone in centuries, drop to its knees in recognition. Mate. His wolf whispered in awe. Our mate. The girl stared at him with those glowing eyes. Who are you? Her voice was rough. Damaged. He could smell poison on her. Wolfsbane. Someone had tried to kill her. Rage flooded through him, swift and violent. Who hurt you? She laughed. The sound was broken. Bitter. My mate. My best friend. They poisoned me. Left me to die. She looked down at her hands, which were still glowing with that white light. But I did not die. Something woke up instead. Something they should have been afraid of. Xander moved closer carefully. What is your name? Cassandra. She met his eyes. Cassandra Vale. Former beta female of Crescent Moon Pack. Current nothing. You are my mate. The words came out rough. Possessive. I am Xander Kane. Alpha of Nightshade Pack. And I have been searching for you for 200 years. She blinked at him, processing. Then slowly that bitter smile curved her lips. Well, the moon goddess has a sense of humor. I am dying and she sends me the most dangerous alpha in the territories. You are not dying. Xander knelt in front of her, studying the way the white light pulsed under her skin. I can feel it. Whatever power you awakened, it is healing you. He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and touched her face. Come with me. Let me help you. Protect you. Why would you want me? I am broken. Poisoned. Betrayed. Because you are mine. Simple as that. And no one hurts what is mine. For a long moment they stared at each other. Then Cassandra nodded. She tried to stand and stumbled. Xander caught her, lifting her into his arms. She was light. Too light. When was the last time anyone had cared if she ate? If she rested? What about them? She asked as he carried her toward the border. My former mate. My former friend. They planned this. They deserve to pay. They will. Xander promised. But first we get you safe. Then we make them regret ever touching you. Chapter 2. Xander took Cassandra to a safe house on the edge of his territory. It was small and isolated, exactly what she needed to recover without being found. He laid her on the bed and examined her properly. The poison was being purged from her system, but slowly. Her body was fighting a war with itself. He spent the night monitoring her. When she shivered, he covered her with blankets. When she cried out in pain, he held her hand. And when her eyes snapped open, glowing white and wild, he was there to keep her grounded. Tell me what you are feeling. He kept his voice calm, even though seeing his mate in pain made his beast rage. Power. Cassandra gasped. So much power. It is like fire in my veins. I do not know how to control it. Stop trying to control it. Let it flow. Let it settle. Xander sat beside her on the bed. Whatever bloodline you come from, it is old. Powerful. It woke up to save your life. Now you need to trust it. She looked at him with those glowing eyes. Why are you helping me? You do not know me. I know enough. You are my fated mate. That means everything to me. He touched her face gently. And I know what betrayal feels like. What it does to you. You do not have to go through this alone. Tears slipped down her cheeks. I loved him. Loved them both. How could they do this to me? Because some wolves are monsters wearing pack loyalty like a mask. Xander's voice went hard. Your former mate sounds like a coward. And your former friend is worse. At least he betrayed you openly by choosing her. She betrayed you while pretending to care. Cassandra closed her eyes. The blood moon ceremony. They were going to reject me publicly. Make it look like I was too weak to be Luna. Then let me die from the rejection and poison combined. When is the ceremony? Xander glanced at the window where dawn was breaking. It was supposed to happen at midnight. They missed it because of your power surge. He smiled grimly. I imagine your former pack is very confused right now. Good. Let them be confused. Cassandra's eyes opened and the white glow had faded to her normal amber. Let them wonder where I am. What happened? Let them be afraid. There is the fire I was looking for. Xander stood. Rest now. When you wake we will discuss what you want to do. If you want revenge, I will help you plan it. If you want to disappear, I will hide you. Your choice. What do you want? She asked, studying him. You are my fated mate. Do you want to complete the bond? Eventually. If you want it. Xander met her eyes steadily. But I will not push. You have been through trauma. Betrayal. You need time to heal. I can wait. Even 200 years. His smile was small and sad. I have waited this long. I can wait a bit longer. Sleep, Cassandra. You are safe here. She slept for 14 hours. When she finally woke, the sun was setting again. Xander was sitting in a chair by the window reading. He looked up when she stirred. How do you feel? Better. Cassandra sat up, slowly testing her body. The poison is gone, and the power it feels settled. Like it is waiting. She looked at her hands, which appeared normal now. What am I? Xander set down his book and came to sit on the edge of the bed. From what you described and the power I felt, I believe you carry the bloodline of the original wolves. The first shifters created by the moon goddess herself. That bloodline was thought to be extinct. My grandmother used to tell stories about our ancestors. Cassandra frowned, trying to remember. She said we were descended from Luna's light. One of the first Lunas. But I thought it was just pack legend. It was not legend. Luna's light was real. And if you carry her blood, that makes you one of the most powerful wolves alive. Xander's expression was serious. It also makes you a target. There are wolves who would want to control you. Use your power. Like Damien wanted to use me as a convenient Luna before discarding me. Exactly. Which is why we need to decide what to do next. Do you want to go back? Confront them. Cassandra thought about it. Felt the rage still simmering in her chest. Yes. I want them to know I survived. That I am not the weak, trusting fool they thought I was. She met Xander's dark eyes. And I want them to suffer for what they did. Then they will suffer. Xander promised. But we do it smart. We do not go in raging and emotional. We plan. We prepare. And we make sure that when you return as something they cannot touch. What do you mean? I mean you become my Luna. Officially. Xander's voice was calm, but his eyes were intense. The Nightshade pack is small, but we are feared. Our warriors are the best in 5 territories. Our alpha is me. If you are my Luna, no one will dare challenge you. Not Damien. Not anyone. You want to complete the mate bond. Cassandra's heart stuttered. Now. Not the full bond. Not until you are ready. But we can do the Luna ceremony. Claim you publicly as mine. It will give you protection. Status. Power beyond what Crescent Moon Pack could offer. And it will send a very clear message to Damien. What message? That you are untouchable. Xander leaned forward. I will not force this. If you want to face him alone, I will support that. But if you want an army at your back, I am offering it. Why? Cassandra asked. Why would you do this for me? Mate bond or not, you barely know me. Because you are mine. And I protect what is mine. Simple as that. Xander's voice went soft. And because I see you, Cassandra. I see the strength you are trying to hide. The rage you think makes you weak. I see a female who survived betrayal and poison and came out stronger. That is the wolf I want as my Luna. Tears burned her eyes. No one had ever spoken to her like that. Had ever seen her as anything more than convenient. Useful. Good enough. Xander saw her as powerful. Okay, she whispered. Let us do it. Make me your Luna. Give me the power to destroy them. Xander smiled, and it was fierce. With pleasure. The Luna ceremony took place 3 days later. Cassandra spent that time training with Xander's warriors, learning to control her newfound power. The white light she could summon at will now. It responded to her emotions, but also to her intent. When she fought, it enhanced her speed and strength. made her nearly unstoppable. One of Xander's warriors, a scarred female named Raven, told her the truth. "You are stronger than our alpha now. At least in raw power. That has never happened before. Does it bother him?" Cassandra asked. Raven laughed. "Are you kidding? He is thrilled. Do you know how long Alpha has been alone? How many years he searched for his mate? He would not care if you were a human. The fact that you are this powerful just makes you perfect for him. Why is he alone? Why did it take 200 years to find his mate? Because fated mates are rare. And mates for wolves as old as Alpha are even rarer. The moon goddess waits until the perfect match exists." Raven's expression softened. "You were worth the wait. Trust me." The ceremony was held in Nightshade territory under the crescent moon. Xander's pack was small, only about 40 wolves. But Cassandra could feel the power rolling off each one. These were not average wolves. These were warriors. Survivors. Killers if they needed to be. Xander stood before her dressed in black, his dark hair pushed back from his face. His eyes were pure gold as his wolf pressed close to the surface. "Are you ready?" "Yes." Cassandra wore a simple white dress that Raven had given her. Her dark hair fell loose down her back. She felt powerful. Deadly. Ready. The ceremony was short. Xander spoke the old words, claiming her as his Luna. Binding her to his pack. Giving her authority second only to his. When he bit her shoulder, marking her as his, the pack held in approval. The mark would be visible proof that she belonged to the most dangerous alpha alive. When it was done, Xander cupped her face and kissed her. It was not a gentle kiss. It was claiming. Possessive. A promise and a threat to anyone who might challenge them. Cassandra kissed him back and felt the mate bond snap fully into place. Not completed yet. That would require the final mating. But present. Real. Connecting them in ways she had never been connected to Damien. This was what a true mate bond felt like. That night there was a celebration. Small but joyful. Cassandra sat beside Xander at the high table and watched his pack interact. They were rough around the edges. Blunt. But they were loyal. She could feel it in the pack bonds that now connected her to each of them. Raven approached and bowed her head. "Luna. Welcome to Nightshade." "Thank you." Cassandra smiled. "And please." "You do not need to bow." Raven grinned. "I like her Alpha. She is polite. Try not to corrupt her too much." Xander's laugh was dark. No promises. After the celebration, Xander took Cassandra to his home. It was larger than the safe house, but still modest. He was not one for extravagance. The inside was clean and simple, with weapons displayed on the walls and shelves of books everywhere. "You read?" Cassandra said, surprised. "What did you expect?" Xander poured them both wine. "That I sat around growling at people all day." "Maybe." She took the offered glass. "You have a reputation." "Reputations are tools." His expression was serious. "People fear me, which means they do not cross me. That keeps my pack safe. But I am not the monster they think I am." "I know." Cassandra sat on the couch, and he joined her. "I have seen how you are with your pack. With me. You are a good alpha, Xander." He was quiet for a moment. "Then, my first mate died 80 years ago. Before the fated bond could snap into place. I was young. Foolish. I got her killed by being careless." He stared into his wine. "I swore I would never let that happen again. That if the moon goddess ever gave me another chance, I would protect her with everything I had." "I am sorry." Cassandra touched his hand. "For your loss. It made me who I am today. Careful. Controlled. Some would say cold. But when I felt our bond snap into place, when I found you dying in that clearing." Xander looked at her. "I knew I would burn the world down to keep you safe. And I will." Cassandra felt warmth spread through her chest. No one had ever protected her. Had ever put her first. "I want to go back. To Crescent Moon territory. I want them to see what I have become." "When?" "Soon. But first I need to be ready. I need to train more. Learn to use this power." She met his eyes. "I need to be strong enough that when I face them they know they made a mistake. Then we train." Xander set down his wine and took her hands. "We make you unstoppable." And when you are ready, we return to Crescent Moon together. You will face them with me at your side and my pack at your back. And they will regret ever hurting you." Cassandra squeezed his hands. "Thank you. For everything. You do not need to thank me. You are my Luna. My mate. My equal. This is what partners do." Later that night, Cassandra lay in the guest room Xander had given her and stared at the ceiling. She could feel him through the bond in his own room down the hall. Could sense his protective presence even in sleep. It was comforting. Safe. For the first time since the betrayal, she felt hope. Damien and Celine had tried to break her. Had tried to kill her. But they had failed. And now she was something they could never have anticipated. Something powerful and dangerous with the most feared alpha as her mate. They wanted her dead. Instead, they had created their worst nightmare. Cassandra smiled in the darkness. Let them wonder where she was. Let them think she had died. When she returned, it would be as someone they could not touch, could not hurt, could not destroy. She would return as Luna. And she would make them pay. Chapter 3. Cassandra trained for 3 weeks. Every morning, she worked with Raven, learning combat techniques that utilized her enhanced speed and strength. Every afternoon, she practiced with her power, learning to summon the white light at will to use it as both shield and weapon. And every evening, she trained with Xander. He was brutal, showed no mercy, came at her with 200 years of skill and experience. The first week, she lost every match. The second week, she managed to land a few hits. By the third week, she was holding her own. "You are a natural fighter." Xander circled her in the training ring, both of them breathing hard. "You just needed someone to bring it out. Or I needed to get angry enough." Cassandra countered, striking fast. Xander blocked, but she had expected that. Used his momentum against him and swept his legs. He went down and she followed, pinning him with her weight and pressing her forearm against his throat. "Yield," she demanded. Xander's eyes glowed gold as his wolf pressed forward. "Never." He flipped their positions so fast she did not see it coming. Suddenly she was on her back with his weight holding her down. His face was inches from hers. His voice dropped to a growl. "You will have to do better than that, Luna." The title sent heat through her, as did the feeling of his body against hers. The mate bond pulsed between them, demanding completion. She could smell his desire mixed with control. He wanted her, but he was waiting for her to be ready. Maybe she was ready. Cassandra wrapped her legs around his waist and used her power. White light flared and gave her the strength to reverse their positions again. This time, when she pinned him, she leaned down until her lips brushed his ear. "I yield to no one. Not anymore." She released him and stood. Left him lying there in the training ring. Behind her, she heard his dark laugh. "That is my Luna." That night, Cassandra made a decision. She found Xander in his study reviewing reports. He looked up when she entered. "We need to talk." He set down the papers, immediately giving her his full attention. "What is wrong?" "Nothing is wrong." Cassandra closed the door and locked it. "I have been thinking. About the bond. About us." Xander went very still. His eyes tracked her every movement as she crossed to him. "What about us?" "I want to complete the mating bond." She held his gaze. "I am ready, Xander. I want you as my mate. Fully. Completely." "Cassandra." His voice was rough. "You do not have to do this. I can wait. I know you can. But I do not want to wait." She moved closer until she stood between his legs where he sat. "You have given me everything. Protection. Power. A place to belong. Let me give you this." Xander stood slowly. Towered over her. His hands came up to frame her face. "If we do this, there is no going back. You will be mine in every way. Bound to me for life. I know. And I want it." Cassandra placed her hands over his. "I want you." The kiss was explosive. All the restraint Xander had been showing for weeks shattered. He claimed her mouth like he was drowning and she was air. Cassandra met him with equal passion. Equal need. The mate bond sang between them, demanding completion. He lifted her, and she wrapped her legs around his waist. He carried her to his bedroom and kicked the door shut. The rest of the night was a blur of heat and pleasure, and the mate bond finally completing, snapping into place so powerfully that both of them glowed, her white light and his golden aura mixing until they were indistinguishable. When it was over, Cassandra lay in Xander's arms, feeling whole for the first time in her life. This was what a mate bond was supposed to feel like. Complete. Right. Unbreakable. Xander's hand traced patterns on her bare shoulder. I love you. The words were quiet but fierce. I have loved you since the moment I found you in that clearing. Broken and powerful and mine. Cassandra turned to look at him. I love you too. And I am ready. Ready to go back. To face them. Tomorrow. Xander promised. Tomorrow we return to Crescent Moon and we end this. They left at dawn. Xander brought 10 of his best warriors, including Raven. Cassandra wore black leather that marked her as Luna of Nightshade. Her hair was pulled back in a braid. The mark on her shoulder was visible for all to see. She looked every inch the warrior Luna. Nothing like the soft, trusting beta female she had been a month ago. When they crossed into Crescent Moon territory, wolves appeared immediately. Warriors in defensive positions. One of them recognized Cassandra and his eyes went wide. He sent up a howl alerting the pack. By the time they reached the packhouse, Alpha Thorn had assembled the entire pack. He stood on the steps, his expression shocked. Beside him were his Luna and his heir, Damien. He looked terrible. Thinner than Cassandra remembered. Dark circles under his eyes. When he saw her, his face went white. Cassandra. You are alive. Did you think I would not be? She kept her voice level even though rage was building in her chest. Did you think the poison would work? That I would die quietly and let you have your happy ending? Poison. Alpha Thorn looked sharply at his son. What is she talking about? Ask your heir. Ask him and his lover what they did to me under the blood moon. Cassandra gestured to where Celine stood in the crowd. Her former best friend looked equally shocked and afraid. Xander moved to stand beside Cassandra. His presence was a dark promise. His warriors fanned out behind them. The Crescent Moon wolves were outnumbered and outmatched, and they knew it. Alpha Thorn's eyes went to the mark on Cassandra's shoulder. You are mated. To Xander Kane. I am. And I am Luna of Nightshade now. Cassandra met Damien's eyes. Tell them. Tell everyone what you did. Damien's mouth opened and closed. I do not know what you are talking about. Liar. Cassandra's power flared, white light crackling around her fingers. You poisoned me. You and Celine. You planned to reject me during the blood moon ceremony after the poison made me weak. Then you would let me die and blame it on the rejection. You planned everything. The crowd erupted in shocked murmurs. Alpha Thorn looked at his son with horror. Is this true? She is lying. Damien's voice was desperate. She ran away because she was weak. Could not handle being Luna. Now she comes back with some made-up story. I am not lying. Cassandra stepped forward. And I have proof. She had not told anyone. Not even Xander. But she had planned this moment carefully. From her pocket she pulled a small vial. Inside was the remaining wolfsbane mixture. She had found it in Celine's room before leaving. Had saved it for this exact purpose. This is the poison you used. She held it up. Wolfsbane mixed with silver nitrate and nightshade. A healer's poison. The kind that takes hours to kill and looks like natural illness. She looked at Celine. You made this. I know because you are the only healer in this pack skilled enough to mix something so deadly. Celine's face crumbled. Cassandra, please. Tell them. Cassandra's voice was steel. Tell them what you did or I will make you. Xander's power rolled out, joining hers. The combined force of two alphas dropped every wolf in the clearing to their knees. Only Alpha Thorn remained standing, and only barely. Speak, Xander commanded. And speak truth. Celine broke. Sobbing, she confessed everything. How she had loved Damien since childhood. How they had begun an affair 6 months ago. How they had planned to get rid of Cassandra so Celine could be Luna instead. We did not mean for it to go this far. Celine wept. We just wanted to be together. But the fated bond. We could not break it unless she was gone. So you decided to kill me. Cassandra's voice was cold. You pretended to be my friend. Pretended to care. All while planning my death. I am sorry. Celine reached out. Please, Cassandra. You have to understand. I understand perfectly. Cassandra looked at Alpha Thorn. What is the punishment for attempted murder of a pack member? The old Alpha's face was hard. Death or exile? I choose exile. For both of them. Cassandra met Damien's eyes. I want them to live with what they did. Want them to wander without a pack, without a home. Let them understand what it feels like to have everything taken from them. Damien found his voice. You cannot do this. I am heir. This pack is mine. Not anymore. Alpha Thorn's voice was filled with disgust. You are no son of mine. You and your lover will leave this territory and never return. If I see you again, I will kill you myself. Father, please. Damien tried. Get out. Alpha Thorn roared. Both of you. Now. Wolves moved forward, forcing Damien and Celine away from the pack house. Cassandra watched them go and felt nothing. No satisfaction. No joy. Just cold emptiness where her rage had been. Xander touched her shoulder. Are you all right? I will be. Cassandra turned away from the sight of her former mate being escorted to the border. She looked at Alpha Thorn. I am sorry. I know he is your son. He stopped being my son the moment he betrayed his fated mate. The old Alpha bowed his head. I owe you an apology, Cassandra Vale. You were beta female of this pack. Under my protection. And I failed you. You did not know. None of you did. Cassandra glanced at the assembled wolves. Many looked ashamed. Guilty. They should have noticed. Should have protected her. I hold no grudge against Crescent Moon Pack. Only against those who hurt me. You are welcome here. Alpha Thorn said. If you wish to reclaim your position as beta female. Thank you, but no. Cassandra moved to stand beside Xander. I am Luna of Nightshade now. That is where I belong. Then may the moon goddess bless you both. Alpha Thorn smiled sadly. And may you find the happiness my son was too foolish to appreciate. They left Crescent Moon territory with their heads high. Behind them, Cassandra felt the severed bonds with her old pack. Felt the weight of that life fall away completely. She was free. Truly free. Xander took her hand as they walked. How do you feel? Like I can finally breathe. Cassandra squeezed his fingers. They cannot hurt me anymore. No one can. No one will. Xander promised. Not while I live. When they returned to Nightshade territory, the pack greeted them with howls. Raven grinned and clapped Cassandra on the shoulder. Well done, Luna. You faced your demons and won. Not won. Cassandra corrected. Survived. There is a difference. But later that night, lying in bed with Xander's arms around her, Cassandra realized she had done more than survive. She had thrived. Had become stronger than she ever imagined possible. The betrayal that should have destroyed her had instead forged her into something unbreakable. And she had found a mate who saw her. Truly saw her. Who loved her not despite her darkness, but because of it. Maybe the moon goddess did know what she was doing after all. Chapter 4. 6 months passed. Cassandra settled into her role as Luna of Nightshade with a natural authority that impressed even the most skeptical pack members. She trained with the warriors. Healed the injured. Worked beside Xander to make their small pack stronger. And her power continued to grow. The white light she could summon became more controlled. More precise. She learned to use it not just as a weapon but as a tool. She could sense other wolves' intentions. Could shield her pack from attacks. Could even share her power with others, temporarily enhancing their abilities. You are incredible. Xander told her one night after watching her train with 3 warriors at once and beat all of them. I have never seen anything like you. I am just doing what you taught me. Cassandra wiped sweat from her face. Using what I have. No. You are exceeding everything I could teach. You are becoming something legendary. His eyes glowed gold. The other packs are starting to hear stories. About the Luna who glows. Who survived betrayal and came back stronger. They fear you. Good. Let them fear me. Cassandra smiled. Fear keeps us safe. But fear also draws challenges. And soon those challenges came. The first was from a neighboring pack whose alpha thought Cassandra's power was a threat. He demanded she submit to testing by the Wolf Council to prove she was not a danger to other packs. Xander's response was swift and brutal. He challenged the Alpha to combat, beat him in under 5 minutes, and made it clear that anyone who questioned his Luna would answer to him. The second challenge came from within. A younger wolf named Marcus thought having a powerful Luna made Xander look weak. He challenged for the Alpha position. But it was not Xander who faced him in the challenge ring. It was Cassandra. "I do not need my mate to fight my battles," she told Marcus coldly. "If you think I am a weakness, then face me yourself." The fight lasted 30 seconds. Cassandra's power and training combined to make her unstoppable. She had Marcus on his back with her hand around his throat before he could land a single hit. "Submit," she demanded. "Or die." Marcus submitted. And from that day no one questioned her position again. But the biggest challenge came from an unexpected source. Damien. He appeared at the border one night 6 months after his exile. He was thin and ragged, barely recognizable. But when the border guards brought him before Xander and Cassandra, his eyes were clear, determined. "I need to speak with you." He looked at Cassandra. "Please. Just 5 minutes." Xander growled low in his chest, but Cassandra touched his arm. "It is all right. Let him speak." They met in neutral ground outside the pack house. Xander remained close enough to intervene, but far enough to give them privacy. Cassandra faced her former mate with cold eyes. "You have 5 minutes. I came to apologize." Damien's voice was hoarse. "For everything. For the betrayal. For the poison. For not seeing what I had until it was gone. Your apology means nothing to me." "I know. But I needed to say it. I have spent 6 months as a rogue. Alone. Hunted. I lost everything. My pack. My position. My father's respect. And Celine." Damien laughed bitterly. "She left me after 2 months. Said I was not worth the trouble. That is not my problem." "I know. I just..." Damien looked at her, really looked, and Cassandra saw the moment he understood what he had lost. "You are magnificent. I was blind and stupid, and I threw away the best thing that ever happened to me. I do not expect forgiveness. I do not deserve it. I just wanted you to know that I see it now. See you. And I am sorry." Cassandra felt nothing. No anger. No satisfaction. Just emptiness where he used to be. "Your apology is noted. Now leave and never come back. If I see you on Nightshade territory again, I will kill you myself." Damien nodded. He looked at Xander, who stood watching with cold eyes. "Take care of her. She deserves better than I gave her." "I know." Xander moved to stand beside Cassandra. "And I will spend every day proving I am worthy of her." Damien left. Cassandra watched him disappear into the trees and felt the last connection to her old life sever. She turned to Xander. "I am ready to move forward completely. No more looking back." "Then let us move forward." Xander pulled her close. Together. 3 months after Damien's visit, Cassandra discovered she was pregnant. The realization hit her one morning when she could not stand the smell of coffee, something she normally loved. Her wolf confirmed it immediately. A pup. She was carrying Xander's child. She told him that night. Watched his face transform from shock to joy to fierce protectiveness in seconds. He dropped to his knees before her, placing his hands on her still flat stomach. "A pup." His voice was rough with emotion. "Our pup. Are you happy?" Cassandra asked, running her fingers through his hair. Happy does not begin to describe it. Xander looked up at her. "You have given me everything, Cassandra. A mate. A partner. And now a child. I do not deserve you." "Yes, you do." She pulled him to his feet. "We deserve each other. We survived our pasts. Found each other. Built something beautiful. This child is proof that we won." The pack celebrated for 3 days. Raven declared herself the pup's future protector and trainer. The warriors pledged their loyalty to the next generation. And Xander became even more protective than before, something Cassandra had not thought possible. But she was not fragile. She continued training through her pregnancy. Continued using her power. Continued being the Luna her pack needed. And 6 months later she gave birth to a daughter. They named her Luna. A fitting name for the child of 2 alphas. She was perfect. Tiny and strong with her father's dark hair and her mother's amber eyes. And when she cried, the sound carried a power that made the pack warriors smile. This one will be legendary. Raven predicted, holding the baby with surprising gentleness. She will be whatever she wants to be. Cassandra corrected. We will teach her to be strong. To be kind. To protect those who cannot protect themselves. Xander sat beside her on the bed looking at their daughter with such love it made Cassandra's chest ache. She will be loved. That is all that matters. That night, as Cassandra lay with her daughter asleep on her chest and her mate's arm around them both, she thought about how far she had come. A year ago she had been dying in the forest. Betrayed. Broken. Ready to give up. Now she was here. Luna of Nightshade. Mate to the most feared alpha. Mother to a daughter who would inherit both their legacies. She had power beyond measure. A pack that respected her. A mate who loved her. The betrayal under the blood moon had not destroyed her. It had set her free. Had put her on the path to finding Xander. To becoming who she was meant to be. Sometimes she wondered what happened to Damien and Celine. If they ever found peace. If they ever regretted what they did. But those thoughts were fleeting. They were part of her past. Her future was here. With Xander and Luna and the pack they were building. She had been betrayed under the blood moon. But she had become the Luna of the most dangerous alpha. And she would not trade that for anything. As she drifted to sleep, Cassandra sent a silent prayer to the moon goddess. Thank you. For the betrayal. For the pain. For leading me to where I was meant to be. The moon seemed to shine brighter through the window. And Cassandra knew the moon goddess was listening. Had been listening all along. Had planned this path from the beginning. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you turns out to be the best thing. You just have to survive long enough to see it. Chapter 5. 3 years passed in what felt like both an eternity and a moment. Luna grew into a fierce toddler with her mother's determination and her father's intensity. She was adored by the pack, particularly by Raven, who taught her to growl before she could properly speak. Cassandra thrived as Luna. Her power had stabilized into something she could control completely. She was known throughout the territories as the glowing Luna. The one you did not cross. The one who survived betrayal and became legend. But peace never lasted forever. Word came one afternoon that Crescent Moon Pack was in trouble. Alpha Thorn had fallen ill. Without a proper heir, the pack was in chaos. Wolves were fighting for dominance. Families were being torn apart. They were requesting aid. Xander told Cassandra as they stood in his study reviewing the report. Alpha Thorn specifically asked for you. Me. Why? Because you were beta female. Because you understand their pack dynamics. And because... Xander hesitated. Because his illness is not natural. It smells like poison. Cassandra went cold. Who would poison Alpha Thorn? That is what he wants you to find out. You are a healer. And you have experience with this kind of betrayal. Xander met her eyes. What do you want to do? I want to help. Despite everything, they were still my pack once. And Alpha Thorn stood up for me when the truth came out. I owe him. Cassandra straightened her shoulders. When do we leave? Dawn tomorrow. I am not letting you go alone. They arrived at Crescent Moon territory with a small guard. Alpha Thorn was in his chambers, too weak to stand. But when he saw Cassandra, his face filled with relief. You came. Of course. Cassandra approached his bedside, immediately falling into healer mode. Tell me your symptoms. He described them. Weakness. Nausea. Episodes of paralysis. Cassandra examined him carefully and confirmed what she suspected. Wolfsbane. Small doses over months. Meant to look like natural illness. Who has access to your food and drink? She asked. Only my inner circle. My beta. My guards. My... Alpha Thorn's face crumpled. My new mate. He had taken a new mate after his Luna died 2 years ago. A young wolf from a neighboring pack. Sweet. Shy. Devoted. Or so everyone thought. Cassandra spent 3 days investigating. Used her power to sense truth from lies. Followed trails of evidence. and finally confronted the new Luna in front of the pack. You have been poisoning your mate. Cassandra held up the vial she had found hidden in the female's quarters. Why? The Luna's sweet facade cracked. Because he is old. Because I want power, not to be nursemaid to a dying alpha. She sneered. I was promised that if I mated him I would be Luna for decades. Instead I got a sick old wolf. So you decided to speed up his death. Cassandra's power flared white. And take over the pack. I would have been good at it. The female's eyes gleamed with madness. Better than you ever were. You were never going to lead this pack. Xander stepped forward, his voice hard. Because we have been watching you for weeks. Documenting every dose of poison. Every lie. And now every wolf here knows what you are. The pack turned on the false Luna immediately. Alpha Thorn, though weak, gave the order himself. Exile. With a warning sent to every pack in the territories about what she had done. As Cassandra watched the female being escorted away, she felt strange satisfaction. Not all betrayals went unpunished. Not all villains won. Sometimes justice actually happened. Alpha Thorn recovered slowly with Cassandra's treatment. He offered her the position of Alpha when he retired. You were meant to lead this pack. Come home. But Cassandra declined. I appreciate the offer. But Nightshade is my home now. My pack. She looked at Xander. My family. Alpha Thorn nodded, understanding. Then take my blessing. For you and your mate and your pup. May the moon goddess watch over you always. They returned to Nightshade to find Luna had taken her first shift. At 3 years old, she had transformed into a tiny dark wolf with glowing amber eyes. She howled with delight when she saw her parents. Look, Mama. Look what I can do. Cassandra laughed and shifted into her own wolf form. Ran with her daughter through the territory while Xander watched with love shining in his eyes. This was everything. This was worth every moment of pain she had endured. That night the three of them ran as a family. Luna between her parents. Protected. Loved. Free. And as they ran under the light of the full moon, Cassandra felt complete peace. She had been betrayed under the blood moon. Had nearly died. Had lost everything she thought mattered. But she had survived. Had found real love. Ready for whatever the future held. Because they had each other. Had their pack. Had their daughter. And nothing could break them. Not betrayal. Not poison. Not anything. Cassandra had learned the hard way that sometimes the worst thing that happens to you leads to the best thing. That betrayal can be a gift in disguise. That being broken and rebuilt makes you stronger than you ever were before. She had been the beta female who trusted too much. Who loved too blindly. Who almost died for it. Now she was the Luna who glowed. Who commanded respect. Who protected her pack with everything she had. The moon goddess did work in mysterious ways. And sometimes her plans were brutal. But they always led you where you needed to be. Cassandra had needed to be here. With Xander. With Luna. With Nightshade. This was her destiny. Her purpose. Her home. And she would defend it until her last breath. The blood moon had taken everything from her. But it had also given her everything that mattered. And for that she would be eternally grateful.